the only real networks were on that right side. So it was Thiago, Henderson, Mane, and Salah were basically the ones involved in this little network. And Henderson was at the heart of this. So he was kind of the fulcrum for passes to final third. And passes to final third are only really relevant in terms of goal creation. Generally, it's like the pass before the pass, or the pass before the pass before the pass. We're not really talking about assists necessarily, although, of course, Henderson did register a great assist with a pass to the final third. Technically, I actually think it was a pass to the penalty area because of where Salah picked it up. But it was the same kind of thing. Either way, Henderson was bang involved in those. And the big link was the Henderson to Salah pass. So there was 4 passes from Henderson to Mo Salah, but also 3 from Henderson to Mane. And then there was 3 from Thiago to Henderson. That was kind of the main link. Thiago, Henderson, and then Henderson to a forward. Mostly Salah, but also Mane. And this is the outlet for Liverpool. You can see it most obviously in Salah's first goal, but that was literally Diogo Jota wins the ball in a very Firmino-esque way. Thiago plays a simple pass to Henderson in space. Henderson plays an absolute worldie of a through ball to Salah. Salah puts it into the corner. That's the most obvious sort of visceral example of it. But there was plenty of other examples too. Just that didn't result in clear-cut chances or goals. But this is where a lot of Liverpool's joy is coming from, is the right half space, and especially that sort of area where, if you look on the pass networks, you've also got average positions. You'll see the Henderson area there, the same place that Harvey Elliott pops up. Interestingly enough, Trent was a little less advanced in this game. Alexander-Arnold is usually a midfielder. On this occasion, he was a little further back. I feel that might have been because Demarai Gray is such a threat from the left side. Trent and pace, that's sort of where Trent is often exposed, is against natural pace and dribbling, and that's what Gray is. He's a real dribbler, and he's lightning fast. So maybe that was why Robertson was actually the more advanced of the Liverpool fullbacks. But it still made this triumvirate, the Trent, Henderson, Salah trio, which is what we've seen all season. Substitute Henderson for another player if you like. This is what we've been seeing. We get that again. We get that again in this game. So that's their little area, and you'll see where Henderson is as kind of that little zone. It's between midfield and offensive thirds. It's the zone of a playmaker, not a 10. I don't want to give it a label necessarily, but it is a playmaking zone, and it's one that Henderson has tended to use really well. He's a player that I don't want to say I've criticised him necessarily, but I do sometimes have a habit of putting others ahead of him, the likes of Naby Keita or Harvey Elliott more recently. Just because I in a way I prefer them, because they're more kind of on the technical football side of things. I just think they impress me a bit more. But it's not really fair, because Henderson is very good technically. It's complete rubbish to say that he's not capable of playing, the sort of through passes that we've seen him play this season. I mean, the one for the goal against Everton was good, but it wasn't the best. Think about the one for the Man United. Jesus Christ, was it Man United? Yeah, it was, for when Mo Salah scored that goal. Holy smokes, what a pass that was! The one with the outside of his boot. He's capable of it. And he's a good playmaker from deep positions. This is why I've put him in the 6. Sort of when Fabinho's not available in games where Liverpool have lots of possession. But outside of that, you have to put him. You have to see really that Henderson has that ability as a playmaker. If Keita has it, if Harvey Elliott has it, if I don't know who else we're talking about, Curtis Jones, for example, one of these more naturally attacking midfielders, or forwards, you could say, especially in the case of Harvey Elliott, then you have to say that Henderson also possesses those skills, because he is showing it, he's demonstrating it, and it would just be wrong to say that he doesn't have that in his arsenal when he's doing it. Just literally, it is happening, and we saw it happen in this game. So it wasn't just the finish was absolutely sublime, as we saw. He took up the 18-yard position on the edge of the box. That's a playmaker's position. That's a number 10's position. And he hit the shot as clean as a whistle. You can't ask for anything more than that. He got the vital first goal, as he did against Brighton. Similar kind of deal, different position, but clean as a whistle, accurate. Found the corner, scored the goal. What more do you want? Harvey Elliott scores that, everybody is in tears, with joy. Naby Keita scores that, Twitter's wetting themselves. Just because Jordan Henderson may not have the reputation, it doesn't mean he can't do it. And I'm sometimes guilty of putting him too much within the bracket of leadership and heart and passion and um, not necessarily technical footballing skills, but captain skills. And he's not in the team just because he's the captain and he galvanizes and motivates teammates. He's also in the team because he's a very good football player too. Maybe not all the time, maybe not as good as others, but it doesn't matter. If the performances are there, there's nothing anybody can criticize him for. And the performance was definitely there against Everton. Defensively, I would say he was fine. He might not be the best defender, especially not from that right side position. But again, that's kind of a Klopp problem. Klopp's the one who is setting his team up that way. He's the one who's making them so heavy on the right side. It's kind of unfair to expect Henderson to play that attacking role and defend the right side again. That's just the way Liverpool are. You're going to find spaces on that right side. There's going to be exposure for Trent. Trent is usually very good at actually covering for that. He's very mobile. I don't think there's any issue with that. Again, I'll get to the Everton goal a bit later, because there was a right side issue there. I don't think it was Henderson's fault. So that kind of covers it for me and Jordan Henderson. I've also included the map for his passes to final third. There were two inaccurate from what I can see. It includes the assist, which was from sort of just inside his own half, basically for the length of the Everton side of the pitch. Second goal, vital. And then there was a key pass. If I remember it, it was a cross. I've also included the crosses. Henderson loves the overlapping runs. It's into the half space or along the flank. He likes to do that. He's not a great crosser of the ball. We know he's not really a natural crosser. He likes to either do one of those curly whirlies, which annoy me. He plays it from the corner of the box into or just curls it into an area, and it bothers me because it never really works. Or he likes to get to the byline and does a dinker. It's either a curly whirly or a dinker, and the dinkers are a bit better. If you think about a good example of a dinker, think back to remember the Dortmund game years ago when Milner, was it Milner? No, was it Sturridge? I think it was actually Sturridge or Milner. One of those two played the big dinker up to the far post for Dan Lovren to score the winner. That's a prime example of a dinker. You put it, you're not putting a lot of power into the ball, but you're playing it into a usually the far post area, very high. You're giving the chance for the ball to either clear all the defenders or one of the taller players to get to it. In this case, I think it was Mane. I think I'm not checking this. I don't think it's worth checking it, but I believe that the key pass you see there was one to Mane at the far post. Mane's a good header of the ball, but on that occasion he couldn't quite generate the power he needed. And that was Henderson's kind of role from the wide areas. He was providing those overlapping runs, which Salah likes that, because Salah loves to cut inside, and he wants to find runners. Obviously, it's usually Trent making that outside run, but Henderson can do it too. He might not use the ball as well as Trent. He obviously doesn't use the ball as well as Trent. Very few do, but he uses it quite well. So I've included the maps there as well, so you can see one was a key pass, the other was an accurate cross, and there was a few inaccurate crosses. Most crosses are, well, I wouldn't call them inaccurate, but incomplete. They don't find a player; they're usually cleared. So that was Jordan Henderson. Very good, really, really good. He's had a few good performances this season, and he gets I don't want to say criticism, but I don't think he gets often the praise he deserves. And I am guilty of this myself. I really am. For some reason, one reason or another, maybe it's his age, maybe it's because he's not that glamorous, maybe it's because he's English. Who knows? But he doesn't really get the press coverage of some others. When he deserves it, he does deserve it on this occasion, especially. Hendo had a great game.